guy. He just won the Democratic Party primary in the New York City mayoral's election. Take a look.
Good morning, everyone. We are approaching the dawn of a new era in New York City. We are turning the page on the corrupt politics of the past that made this the most expensive city in the United States of America. Today, I am filled with gratitude for the more than 50,000 volunteers that have powered this campaign for the last 8 months, for the tens of thousands more who have already cast their ballots. And I'm filled with conviction that we will win this race. We've shown that by focusing on the issues of working and middle-class New Yorkers across this city, that by listening instead of lecturing, that by creating a politics of no translation, New Yorkers will join you in your fight for a new city. What we offer is a way to sustain this city that I so deeply love. What we offer is a vision to keep New Yorkers in the place that they call home, and an antidote to the Trump administration and the hatred and the division that it spews. We are showing people that hope is not something that is naive. It is in fact righteous when it is built upon a plan and a vision. We are showing New York City that a better day is possible, and today is the first of many of them.
Handsome, well-spoken, high energy, fresh face. He's an actor. His mom is a Disney filmmaker. He's all about pizzazz. He's remade himself several times. I mean, here's another version of him.
भाइयों और बहनों, इस इलेक्शन में सिर्फ 20 दिन बचे हैं और चॉइस मेरे और एंड्रू कोमो के बीच में है। अगर आप पहली बार इलेक्शन के बारे में जान रहे हैं, तो ये है जो एंड्रू कोमो ऑफर कर रहा है।
आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है। क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
आपकी वजह से हमने $8 मिलियन रेज किया है। 6 लाख से ज्यादा दरवाजे खटखटाए हैं और बस इतने करीब है इस शहर का पहला साउथ एशियन मेयर बनाने के लिए। पर बात ये नहीं है कि मैं क्या बनूंगा, बात ये है कि मैं क्या करूंगा हमारे कम्युनिटीज के लिए और हर एक न्यूयॉर्कर के लिए। मैं हमारे शहर को अफोर्डेबल बनाऊंगा। न्यूयॉर्कर्स मुश्किल से अफोर्ड कर रहे हैं रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान। मैं ये सब बदलने के लिए लड़ रहा हूँ। रेंट फ्री बसेस, यूनिवर्सल चाइल्ड केयर और सस्ती ग्रोसरीज के जरिए। पर आपको एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, तुमने कभी किसी को वोट किया?
It's not always so smiley. Here he is putting on a show when Trump's border czar, the man in charge of deportations, came to New York City.
How many more New Yorkers not charged? Do you believe in the First Amendment? Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan? How many more New Yorkers will the judge not target?
I think he really wanted to get arrested. But he is good at politics, similar in a way to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But he's, I think, smarter and more serious than she is. People thought she was a joke because of her casual manner and childish style, but you have to understand that's what works in the modern American left. She's exotic enough to attract white liberals and ideological enough to pull the youth away from more moderate Democrats, and so's Mamdani. And when you're dealing with a city like New York, where 36% of people are foreign-born, but I have to be fair, it's not just new immigrants. White liberals, especially white liberal women, love it too. Look at Zoran's, I'm calling him Zoran, he goes by his first name. I would too if my name was Zoran. I mean, it's a powerful name showing that he's not part of the establishment. But look at his victory party. It's liberal white girls. Well, he is handsome. So yeah, New York is 36% foreign born, and I think you saw some of that power in Mamdani's win. By the way, the number of foreign born citizens, 36% in New York, that number is 52% in Toronto. In places like Brampton, Ontario, it's even higher, 59%. Everything you think is wrong in New York and London, it's worse here in Canada. Vancouver's 49%. Montreal's 41%. Even Calgary and Edmonton are at 35% foreign born. That answers quite a few questions, doesn't it? You know, it brings to mind the United Nations study called replacement migration. That's what's going on. I mean, the Democrats are proud to say it. Normally, the Democratic primary is all you have to do in New York City to run for mayor. Since the city is overwhelmingly Democrat, whoever is the Democrat usually wins. There's been a few exceptions to that. When billionaire Michael Bloomberg ran, he ran as a Republican, just like Rudy Giuliani before him. And Bloomberg then ran as an independent, again, mainly so he could avoid that primary that he surely would have lost because it was just the hardcore leftists. He ran in the general. Bloomberg really spent his way into victory. He's a billionaire. It's tricky right now, the situation. The incumbent mayor is an ex-cop named Eric Adams. He's a black man, and that is an important constituency in New York City. He's an ex-cop, which speaks to the increasing worries about crime. But he is not far left. In fact, he has said supportive things about Trump dealing with illegal migrants who have overrun New York City. I think that's one of the reasons why Mamdani ran. He's pro-illegal immigration. I think Eric Adams would likely have been challenged in the primary, so he did a Bloomberg and became an independent and was planning to run for re-election as an independent. So in stepped to the Democratic primary the other day, the former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. He's 67 years old compared to Zoran's 33 years old. And Kuomo sure feels like the establishment personified. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but his father, Mario Cuomo, was governor about 40 years ago. And Andrew Cuomo himself was governor for about a decade, too. I mean, he's moderate as New Yorkers go. He's old school. Zoran is the candidate of socialists, environmentalists, activists, and Islamists. So it was quite a contrast generationally. And in the end, Zoran got 43.5% of the primary vote, and Kuomo just got 36.4%. In raw numbers, it was 432,000 votes for the upstart and 361,000 for the old man. I think, though, that the Democrats are all now coalescing against Zoran. Everyone is excited about him. He's the new AOC, so you see everyone from Bill and Hillary Clinton on down are endorsing him. They see he's the next AOC, but more likely to be a leader of a movement, not just a backbench pundit, which is sort of what AOC has turned into. Now, Andrew Cuomo says he might run as an independent. We'll see about that. I think all these big establishment types backing Zoran are trying to convince Cuomo not to run. And Eric Adams, the incumbent, said he would run as an independent. And then there's the Republican candidate for mayor, Curtis Sliwa. You might have heard of him. He was the founder of sort of the street paramilitary anti-crime force called the Guardian Angels, famous for being in those New York City subway cars when there was so much crime. So you could potentially see three centrist candidates against Zoran: Eric Adams, the ex-cop mayor who is black, Andrew Cuomo, the former governor who is Italian, and Curtis Sliwa, the activist. And I mention the ethnicity because that is part of New York politics. Those three candidates would all split the vote on the right. And if that happens, I think it's almost a certainty that Zoran will win the general election on November 4th. Now, normally who's running for mayor is not much concern outside the city involved. And even then, it's not that momentous a position. But that's not actually true for some cities that are more like countries in terms of their size and importance. I mean, the New York City Police Department is larger than most countries' armies. So it's a counterterrorism force. So in many ways, being the mayor of New York is really like being the president of a small but important country. And it's not even small economically. London, England, that mayor, Sadiq Khan, is one of the most powerful politicians in the UK, certainly more so than, say, the conservative leader of the opposition there. Sadiq Khan is a hard left-wing extremist who has spent his life as a sympathizer for Islamic terrorism. And so he turns a blind eye to the anti-Semitic crime wave in his city, just like they do in Toronto. But he's much more than just an Islamist. He's built a coalition with white left-wingers in the UK, including the old communist fringe, government sector unions, environmentalists, and LGBTQ extremists. London leads the way in things like environmental spyware. They have this system that combines surveillance cameras and 15-minute cities so that if you dare to drive when and where the government says you can't drive at that time, you're sent a fine. It's like photo radar, except you've done nothing wrong except for driving at all. These 15-minute cities are called ULEZ, ultra low emission zones. as if they'll somehow counteract China building a coal-fired power plant every week. But really, it's all about controlling people, whatever the excuse is. Censorship, environment, they don't care. It's the control they're after, the power. I have to say I have a forbidden affection for the band of so-called Bladerunners in London. Those are people who go around and immobilize those ULS spy cameras. They come in typically on a motorbike. They have a metal cutting saw, and they do their work in less than a minute. Look at this.
Timber! See you fucking later. There you go. Didn't last very long, did it, folks? Didn't last very long at all. See you fucking later. You Les, down on the deck. Have some of that. Boys ain't messing around round here. Boys ain't messing around round here.
Anyways, so Sadiq Khan of London, he's presided over an incredible crime wave where knives are the weapon of choice, where petty lawlessness is ubiquitous. I mean, don't walk down the street holding your cell phone because someone might snatch it on a bike going by. Anti-Semitism is, of course, normalized, just like in Toronto. I mean, you can't blame everything on Sadiq Khan. He's not in charge of mass immigration. That's at the feet of both the current Labour government and the Conservative government that ran the UK for 14 years before that. Khan is actually a product of that. There's no doubt that mass immigration to London, which is now a majority-minority city, is why such a radical has won and why a truly conservative indigenous British person will likely never be elected again. It's the same story in Toronto, of course. I mean, Olivia Chow would have been unthinkable a generation ago. I hesitate to use the word communist to describe her and Sadiq Khan because it seems so overheated, like I'm trying to insult them or something, but I think it actually really is an accurate descriptor. Crime, homelessness, Islamic extremists on the street, crazy taxes, absurd anti-car regulations, LGBTQ kookiness. I think this video sums up her politics perfectly. Here's her police force giving Toronto homeowners advice on how to respond to the new crime wave of home invasion robberies in Toronto, where foreign gangs break into your house to get the keys to your fancy cars to steal them. This is Olivia Chow's failed state called Toronto.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns.
That's real, folks. You don't want your car stolen to begin with, but if your car is stolen and you have to use the subway in Toronto, both Toronto and New York force you into an even more dangerous situation. There's subways. I mean, Toronto's subway is crazy. And if it's not violent, it's mentally ill. London is an enormously consequential city with a population and economy of a small country. Toronto is less prominent in a global sense, but it's the London of Canada, right? The largest city, the biggest economy, the most corporate head offices, etc. It affects more than just itself, is what I'm saying. It really is a shame. If you've been to Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, D.C., you'll see once great cities in steep decline, and it's 100% due to politics. I mean, I think of Detroit, which was one of America's wealthiest and most successful cities. It had the highest industrial wage in America. It was the place to go and get rich. What a joke now. It's just destroyed by left-wing politics. Well, next up, perhaps the greatest city in the world, New York City, city of 9/11, where 2 jets hijacked by al-Qaeda terrorists flew into the World Trade Center, killing thousands. So that wasn't even 25 years ago. And now New York appears set to elect a mayor who, by some measures, is on the same side as those terrorists. Now, I don't say that merely because he's Muslim. There are moderate Muslims and there are tolerant Muslims, of course. Mamdani is an avidly anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, and pro-terrorist candidate. I mean, the day after Hamas terrorists massacred more than 1,000 Jews and took hundreds hostage, here's what Mamdani said. No mention of Hamas or terrorism. He wrote this. He said, "I mourn the hundreds of people killed across Israel and Palestine in the last 36 hours. Netanyahu's declaration of war, the Israeli government's decision to cut electricity to Gaza, and Knesset members calling for another Nakba will undoubtedly lead to more violence and suffering in the days and weeks to come. The path toward a just and lasting peace can only begin by ending the occupation and dismantling apartheid." Look, not a word about the terrorists, the hostages, putting everything on Israel, calling it an apartheid state. What a joke that is.